Good evening, everybody. We are live tonight. Gotta close the door. Hold on one second. Cut down some of that echo. Anyway, good evening. We are live. Hope everybody's had a nice night. Getting ready for the weekend. Let's see here. Pin that message. Yeah, Sean is a boomer. No Rumble link. Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with that. I need to figure out. I need to contact Rumble. I've been having trouble lately. So I'm not sure if it's me or what's going on. But we'll figure it out at some point. Who was first tonight? Mr. Squiggles, congratulations. Being first is always important. So, hello, Ashley. Hello, Mike. Justin Hancock saying there was an episode of 30 Rock making fun of the telenovelas. Alec as the Generalissimo shoots a dude in the back during a duel. Who knows, a recurring issue. Yeah. Yeah, he set himself up for a lot. Just like in it's like in Hunt for Red October when Sean Connery tells him, "Be careful, not everything here reacts well to bullets," including your cinematographer. Pie hello. 4M, hello. Bye, Franz. A lot of people tonight already. Just hanging up my pants. Yeah, how'd you know? Crystal Heart says, Ron Jeremy impotent. I did not write impotent, did I? Okay, I was about to say, it shouldn't be. Incompetent, not impotent. Although I bet at this age he probably is impotent, given what's going on in his mind. Yay, Selena saying, yeah, I made the live. Camera's fine. Thought you were being Bigfoot being out of focus. What? I don't know. Graham is saying, did Joshua Zavinsky ever go to trial? We'll have to check on that. We'll save that for later at the end. We'll take a look for that. J-Rock, no, I'm saying for $2. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Tell Nick to pull up out of his nosedive, please. If Nick came to me and ever asked me for, counsel, I give it to him, but I think he's doing okay. I think, however, he's, whatever his ultimate plan is and his strategy is, certainly something I don't know, but I think he's doing okay. I don't think he's fully, he's not turning into Ralph. He's not turning into a lol cow. I think, in a couple of months, everybody will be able to look back at this and laugh. So just, I wouldn't be too worried about it for now. It's kind of like Bane. It's like, now is not the time for fear. That comes later. I just don't think this is the time to panic. Even though Woody might say this is the perfect time to panic. Winter Soldier says late and gay. No, you might be late and gay. I was here. I was here waiting for you. So, hey, Sean, you run Funny Gun. Pick a side. Are you talking about Crowder or the Daily Wire? Daily Wire are see you next Tuesdays. Yeah, from reading that contract, yes, I get the idea in contract you're going to play hard-nosed to an extent. You're going to be looking to protect your interests as much as possible. That's the idea. Really, in a negotiation, if you can protect yourself as much as possible, great. Now, if you're doing it to the point where you completely hose job the other guy over, well, ethically, you need to live with that. But if this is what you do to somebody who is your friend, I mean, shit, I don't know if I want to be your friend, because that was a brutal, brutal contract with a lot of areas open for interpretation, massive areas of interpretation. And the fact that they have that as their standard boilerplate, not with any definitions accrued or created about, especially like if things get canceled, and I think Nick has got a great point. Let's say Ben Shapiro says something and now all the sponsors leave. Well, is that my fault? No. And I think there's a bunch of things though when you listen to Jeremy Boring talk about it. It's like, oh well, 25% deduction isn't that much if you're making 50 million. Okay, if it's really not that big a deal, Jeremy, then you wouldn't mind to take the 25% haircut. And he's going to tell you, no way in hell. I mean, to sit there and tell somebody, oh, it's only 25%, it's like, that's a lot of money, regardless of who you are. You know, if you're making 50 bucks, 25% is a lot. If you're making 50 million, 25% is a lot. So to sit here and say, oh, it's no big deal. And then their nonsense of like, well, we wanted to treat it like a joint venture. Well, then pay him like it's a joint venture. But they're not. They're not doing that. I get the Daily Wire wants to minimize the risk, but some of that was borderline nonsense on their part. Metal Matt says, I'm at work powder coating Benchmade knives. Nice. Nice. That should be, hopefully it's a fun time. Be careful. Don't inhale the spray. Noel says, I actually remembered you're streaming for once. This stream should be a nice way to end my birthday. Well, happy birthday. Now there's no pressure. Trot Golfer says, how's your week been? Not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a short week though. Didn't have any worked from home because MLK Day, the courts were closed, but it's been a nice week overall. Silent Raid says, yes, click the like button. American Dreamer says, rest in peace, David Crosby. Yes, David Crosby from Crosby, Stills, and Nash is no longer with us. So, Winter Soldier says, Nick is one drink away from being the next DSP. Oh my God, no, he's not. No, he's not. You want to sound like a woman who's losing her mind. That's right there. He's fine, guys. Okay, let's see. We're gonna skip on from that now. I've said my piece. The Pike case is saying the penalties in that contract with Crowder added up to 110%. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to surprise me. That's a ton. J Rock again for $5. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat saying, appreciate you for that. You're my type of degenerate now. Also, what games do you play if I join your members? Big up Josh Moon. Ralph can holler. Well, Ralph, Ralph handles his own problems, eating that cake with ashes in it and the dumpster fire of Ralphomania. So he can have fun back in his Mexican little hovel that he lives in. As far as games, you don't need to be a member for me to tell you what games I play. If you join the Discord, you'll see on there and Steam. I play a lot of Squad, and recently I started playing Raft. It's kind of this dumb, you're on a raft and you have to catch resources and you build your raft and you build things out. I don't know. It's kind of fun. It is a real time killer though. It's a big time killer. I've been playing that this week. It's been a lot of fun. So it's only like $10 on Steam. Also, if you get the chance to get it, I actually picked it up because Meme Copium was playing it and a lot of fun, So did I see Candace Owens on Timcast? No, I did not. No, guys, normally before I start this, I'm usually kind of sitting there with the future Mrs. Martin, just relaxing and enjoying things. So I did not get a chance to see her on Timcast if that was tonight or most nights. Where are we at here? Candace Owens on Timcast, trashing Crowder. Fuck her. She's I mean, if she's going to sit there and call him a grifter or whatever. Well, actually, isn't she paid by Daily Wire? Hold on. I think she is. I think she's on the Daily Wire. Yeah, she's on the Daily Wire. So, fuck her. That's a hired gun act. She's a hired gun being sent out to take care of business, defending the brand. That doesn't impress me at all. She can sit there and squeal and scream all she wants. She's taking Ben Shapiro's money. He's cutting the checks and she's doing their bidding. So if she was an independent person, I would understand it, but no. She's out there mad because she probably realized how fucked she is in her contract and didn't take any of that into account. I can definitely tell you that's what's going on there. J-Rock saying, "What's the Discord?" Should be up in the pinned comments. Yeah, it should be up in the Discord or the pinned comments. So, Stabby saying she was scheduled to go on since last year. This isn't a spur of the moment booking. I'm not arguing that issue. Just the idea she's going on and doing all this now is because she's taking the Daily Wire's money, and I think she's been taking it for a while now. So for her to get all angry and fired up, that doesn't mean much to me. I mean, she's clearly got a compromised opinion here. Um, yeah, Stabby's saying, I guess there was a counteroffer from Crowder for. Yeah, I think he came back with a bigger counteroffer, which, hey, you want him to assume these kind of losses and you want to really play hard like that, Jeremy, if you want him to assume all the risk, because basically that's what they're doing, then you need to make the reward massive. Sir Marhouse for $4.99. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. You said Candace debated the quartering a few years ago that people should dox the people who online bullied her. Yeah, Candace is she's a dumpster fire. I mean, she's easy on the eyes, but she's just kind of she's like Tommy Loren. She's a bimbo. I mean, after a while, they say enough things they contradict themselves, and I mean, she's a black Tommy Loren. So I mean, there you go. A name of some sort says know what you're worth. Well, you kind of know what you're worth, but you also have to hope other people acknowledge that too. So, we are 12 minutes in, guys. Wow, I got going for a while. We're ready to get back into it. Zero Signal, you're right. This is gay conservative infighting. It is. It is. It's totally gay, but not fake. All right. I guess the first thing we'll start off with is Alec Baldwin. The good Alec Baldwin. So if you guys weren't aware, he is going to be charged with manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter. In fact, 2 counts of it. Not only just him, but Hannah Reed, the armorer, is going to get charged with that. Now, how do we know this? Well, they released a statement today. And it's not clear how they released it because it kind of leaked out into the news. There wasn't an official press conference. But we do have, for example, the district attorney through her Twitter bringing up some issues here. And this is where she starts off by saying that Baldwin and Gutierrez Reed will be charged of manslaughter and the alternative, both counts in New Mexico under both parts of the statute. So it's not only an issue of whether or not they did it, but under which definition of involuntary manslaughter were they guilty of. And New Mexico has 2 kinds of involuntary manslaughter. Let me see if I can bring it up. Where did I have it earlier? Okay, yeah, here we go. All right. So J-Rock is saying, do you know Cyrax of Akron? If so, thoughts. I didn't know Cyrax was in Akron. It's kind of scary that he is. I'm not sure how happy I am to know that he's that close to me. AD for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Saying that don't impress you much. So you got the brains, but have you got the touch? Now don't get me wrong. Yeah, I can't do. I'm not going to do that to Shania. She's too good of a human for that. Jonathan Thompson saying, "Oh hi Sean, hey buddy, how you doing?" It's actually a good friend of mine. So hi John. So what we're gonna do, sorry, guys, I got a little sidetracked here. What we're gonna show is the 2 parts of manslaughter for New Mexico because it is different depending on what part they wanna go for. And there are 2 parts here. So we're not gonna look at part A here. The manslaughter is this is voluntary manslaughter. Don't worry about that part. Um, here is involuntary manslaughter, okay? Involuntary manslaughter consists of manslaughter committed in the commission of an unlawful act not amounting to a felony. Okay. Or, and this is the second way you could commit involuntary manslaughter, in the commission of a lawful act which might produce death in an unlawful manner or without due caution and circumspection. Okay. So we have 2 different ways you could commit involuntary manslaughter. Now, this lawful act, well, yes, you're filming a movie, you're allowed to have a gun, and part of a movie, you're allowed to point that gun. But did he do it in an unlawful manner? Yes. Well, he pointed that gun at a person and he did it without due caution or circumspection. Now, I think that's where they're going to get to this idea that um, Alec Baldwin should have known the armor should have handed him the gun, that he should have known that the safety measures were lax. I think there might be an argument. And if I'm the prosecutor, I would try to get this in. I'm not sure if the defense will let it in. The fact he's the head honcho for the movie and he helped cut corners. And part of that was having Hannah Reed go run around, do other stuff besides being armor. Well, that is a safety protocol issue. In addition to that, they were so COVID crazy. Well, the armor can't be in the room. Okay. Well, then the guns were left out. There's a million different lapses here, but they can be attributed to Alec Baldwin in one way or another. And then there's finally, he picks up the gun and he, points it and it goes off. And we know he was doing that because there is video of him going forward and screwing with the gun. There are shots and there is video, and I've shown this before, and I think it's very interesting because it is from right before he kills Helena Hutchins. And it is very interesting because you can see him jerking around with it and handling it like a moron. So this is right before he does the shooting. This is not the actual roll footage of where it happens, but this is within a couple of minutes. This is him practicing that draw he mentioned. Now, guys, that camera was just tilting away. That's them doing something with it. So he hasn't shot it yet. But this is, once again, this is him playing with the gun. When you watch this, notice he doesn't have it gripped properly. He's pulling it out. He's still, he pulls it out and he's still kind of like, trying to get in his hand. Somebody didn't get a good grip on it. But what do you see at the end? His fingers in the trigger guard, and it looked like he played with the hammer. Well, that's going to be an issue there. But there also might be the issue of what he did. Was this the accident one, or was this him saying, you know what? Fuck all you people. Fuck you directors. Yeah, you know what? Look, I've got this gun. And, being an asshole with it would be unlawful, and threatening and being menacing could be the unlawful theory. I don't know. I don't know how the prosecutor is going to present it. But maybe that's one of their theories. Oh, yada, yada, yada. I'll show you. Boom. And he accidentally shoots her. I don't know. Hopefully the camera was able to record that footage before it got destroyed and shot. If it did, we haven't seen it. And I hope it's out there because that'll really explain to us what happened. Going back to Shania. Yeah, you pound. I thought she was older than 57, but she looks good for 57. Patty Leather saying no freaking way they charge Baldwin. Yeah, I will tell you guys, I didn't think this was going to happen. I honest to God did not expect it. I thought it was literally, I just didn't know if it was going to be too close to call. If it was going to be an actual, there's enough of an issue, I think, of establishing the responsibility here. There's breaks in it and things that go wrong for this to be some sort of felony. Now, because there's a firearm involved especially for Alec and for Hannah Reed, With the firearm enhancements, they could face up to 5 years in prison. If they're not found for the firearm enhancements, they could face up to 18 months in prison. Now, would I see Alec Baldwin serving prison time? Probably not. He has no record. This was, borderline, whether or not this even should have been prosecuted. This is in the gray area. Can I see him going to jail like symbolically for a couple of days? Sure, but he's not going to the state pen. So, Melon Chunker saying he did it on purpose. I don't buy that theory. I know a lot of people like to think so, and I get it. Nobody likes Alec Baldwin. He's a big, big, huge asshole. Big, big, huge asshole. Totally get it. Totally understand that. But I think you guys need to put that aside when you're determining what's going on with him. Um, a name of some sort says a single action army is a great fidget toy. Yeah. Stabby saying we'll never see it unless it becomes evidence at trial. Well, I think we will. I think we will at some point. And that's solely because I don't see Alec Baldwin taking a plea. I think if I'm his attorneys, I would tell them this is a very triable case. And being faced with it, I think he should take it to trial. Justin Hancock saying, I think Alec walks and the armor does a couple years. I don't know. Don't know. Melon Chunker says, lose weight, bruh. Yep, I am working on that. Appreciate it. Saeed is saying Alec did nothing wrong. I am not going to go that far. He did some dumb shit. But does that level of dumb shit raise to a criminality? That's where I have the issue. Stephen McGill says maybe there's a plea to a lesser. I mean, possibly, but for right now, we're way out there. I mean, he hasn't even been charged yet formally, and that's going to have to happen. Then I expect a lot of motion practice on whether or not the elements of the crime or the facts here fit the elements of the crime. So I expect a lot of pretrial motion practice on this. I think it's going to be a long time before we get to a resolution. Saeed saying Helena got rusted. Sir Marhouse for $4.99. Thank you again. Says, has anyone told you sound like a nasally Dan Carlin? No. This is the first night I'm noticing it. I'm a little, I don't know what happened today, but I got a little sinus issue, I think, today that I couldn't shake. So maybe that's part of it. Sweet Tooth Fang, the AP pleaded. Well, that's the assistant director, David Halls. He pled to negligent use of a firearm. Now, what that likely means is he has part of his agreement, and it's a misdemeanor. Part of his agreement is he has to cooperate with the state, meaning when it comes time, he's going to have to go up there and snitch on people. And I'm sure he's going to be able to snitch a lot on Alec. So we'll see what happens to him there. So let's see. I'm trying to catch up here. Sir Marhouse is saying, I'll show you a huge asshole. American Dreamer says the movie postponed. No, they've actually gone ahead and started filming it and finishing it up. And I'm not going to lie, I will watch it out of the just macabre curiosity. That said, though, I have a feeling this movie's going to just absolutely suck. It's going to be like dog shit. It's going to, Sci-Fi Channel movies are going to be better than this. Some of you guys. Gina's saying, can you do like 5 years? Yeah, maybe, but that it's not going to happen. There's a lot of things I'm betting on happening before he does 5 years. Like the Browns getting to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's how rare it is. Unless there's something there might be a piece of evidence we don't know about that portrays Baldwin in the worst way possible, then maybe. But I doubt it. Stabby saying he should have known better than have live rounds on the set. I don't know if it's clear he knew they were live. Hannah Reed definitely knew there were live rounds on set. Not only because she knew they were mixed up in there, but she also knows they had gone out and they'd done target shooting and playing with the guns out off like nearby. So she knew there were live rounds on set, and there shouldn't have been a live round within a mile of that place. So I see her, her actions are definitely going to be some manslaughter concerns there. I definitely think that will be an issue. See here. Why is it pleaded and not pled? Did I say pleaded and not pled? I mean, he might. I mean, how complaints are pled or pleaded? I not really sure. Alpha Snark is saying snitching is gangsta in this day and age. Yep, it is. It definitely is. I don't have anything against Crying Shame. I don't have anything against Sci-Fi Channel. I'm just pointing out that they were not known for having the best quality video movies than when they made them back in the early 2000s. Especially all the Brian Bosworth movies. So, say constructive notice. Yeah. Yes. Tarkina Meyer says, yes, check out America's Untold Stories with Mark Rubert and Eric Hunley. They do talk about this. They talk about this further in depth than I can. Mark Robert has a reporter in Hollywood. He's got a massive knowledge base, can really dive into stuff. He's very good to listen to. They can talk about it a lot. So let's see there. We can get Baldwin off the screen here. Get rid of his ass. You guys have seen him enough now. So we are on to the next thing. Ron Jeremy. Well, I'm sure if you guys are familiar with the illicit video industry and naughty pictures, Ron Jeremy, if you guys are familiar, this is Ron Jeremy. This was him back in June of 2020. Ron Jeremy right now, though, is a very different looking man. And I just bring that up so you can start, because this is not the Ron Jeremy I'm used to seeing. And I can say that because I actually saw him in college because he came and spoke. This is currently Ron Jeremy. And he looks like Julian Assange mixed with Noam Chomsky mixed with the Unabomber. Not a very good combination, in my opinion. So that's Ron Jeremy there. So Ron Jeremy was facing multiple counts of rape and I don't understand why people here on YouTube, they say grape, but whatever. They're disappointed that he's not going to trial. Well, why isn't he going to trial? Well, he was found incompetent to stand trial. That doesn't mean he was found insane. He's just not able to stand trial. And part of what you need to stand trial is you need to be competent mentally. You need to be able to help and assist in your own defense. At this point, it's clear Ron Jeremy's suffering from dementia fairly bad, apparently. Well, if you can't remember anything and you can't help at all, if I'm sitting there trying to work on a case with you as a defense attorney, hey, tell me what happened. Oh, I don't know. Or if he's got dementia and he's just a drooling mass, or if he thinks he's on a different planet. I can't do anything with that. I mean, and God forbid, he wouldn't even be able to cross-examine people on his own. I mean, if he takes a stand, what's he going to say? Like he can't even make the decision of whether or not he takes a stand. He can't make the decision of whether or not he enters a plea. He's incompetent to manage things. Now, this incompetency is not the same level of competency you'd have in a probate court hearing where, grandma Sally, she's too incompetent to manage her affairs. So the court lets her adult kids take over and manage things. That level of competency is down here. Criminal incompetency is like way up here. It is not easy to get. Just like insanity, our common understanding of insanity is far different from what courts hold people to for criminal insanity. So he is because he's incompetent, it's put the case on pause because there's literally nothing you can do right now. The issue is when somebody's incompetent is can they be restored? Meaning through treatments and other procedures, can you bring them back to, being coherent? The one time where you can't clearly is if they suffer from a cognitive impairment that's going to be progressive. Something like dementia, where your brain's basically turning into like a dry sponge. You can't stop it. But if you have something, for example, schizophrenia, or you have other mental illnesses that we can address with medication, well, the court's going to try to medicate you and get you brought back to normalcy. So he had pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of sexual assault and also 12 counts of rape dating back to 96. He was looking at a lot of time, a couple hundred years in prison if he were convicted. And granted, he's 70. I mean, any of those sentences really would probably be a death sentence for him. Gloria Allred, and yeah, amazing she's involved in this, says it's distressing, but hey, I mean, if he's losing his mind, he's losing his mind. So for the victims, though, it is rough because to get ready for trial, they've had to be interviewed by the police, interviewed by the prosecutors, gone in front of a grand jury. So they've had to relive their trauma and tell about it, but now it's all for naught. And why? Well, the court has determined he suffers an incurable neurocognitive decline. Okay. So what do we do then? If his mind is falling apart, well, we can't prosecute him, but what do we do? Well, they don't just let you walk away. Now what happens is, does he go to a state mental hospital? And that's very likely where he's going to go. He'll go to a state mental hospital where they can treat him and let him right off into the sunset that way. Just the same way if you get found not guilty by reason of insanity, you don't just get to go home. You get sent to a mental hospital where you're observed and monitored, and then they figure out what they're going to do. Now, in a couple years, could they say he's such a mess he can't even walk and he's drooling? He gets to go home and drool in his own house? Sure. But for right now, he's likely going to be going to some sort of California state medical facility. Um, there is a concern. Gloria Allred, this is just Cope here, her saying that he could be reevaluated after he receives treatment and a trial can move forward. If he's got dementia, though, it doesn't get better. This is just Cope. This is just Cope for her clients. Oh. One of the people who accused Ron Jeremy of doing everything, said she was kind of confused by this because they were aware of his condition before this started. They were aware he had dementia, which I didn't know that till partway through this case, about like a year and a half ago, that, hey, he's got dementia. Okay. So she's disappointed that they didn't figure this out before letting us get on this 2.5-year emotional journey. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Although apparently somebody from the LA DA's office said, "Oh, we have no record of. We didn't know this was going to happen." I'm sure. I'm sure. Government workers at their best. Government workers at their best. So, Graham is saying he's malingering. No, the test and the type of things that because he's getting interviewed by psychiatrists and assessed by doctors. When you go for insanity or competency, they are very good at sussing that out. I've had clients before where they've acted incompetent, but out of an abundance of caution and following through on my ethical guidelines, I said, "Judge, I think this person might have a competency issue. They need to be evaluated." So the court says, "Cool, we'll evaluate him." Then it comes back and they say, "Yeah, he's faking it or he's malingering," and that they will write that. They don't believe these are since they think this is all just a show. Okay, but this case, no. To come up with a dementia diagnosis, I mean, he'd have to be really good, and I doubt he is. He when the victims say, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had it from the start," that doesn't that doesn't help. So I don't think there's any malingering. Sweet Tooth, you're saying I've just heard pleaded as a more proper to use than pled, and I wonder why lawyers say it that way. I think it's because there's no official one way or another, tomato, tomato. Aaron E says, "Holy cow, Bad Santa." Yeah, he's not looking good. He is not looking good. Stabby is saying, "Yeah, that's the shame. He forgets all the pipe he's laid." Jim is saying, "How much do you think of this is syphilis related?" It could be. Although to be fair, by the time Ron Jeremy was doing his thing, they did have treatments for syphilis. So I don't think so. But yes, syphilis can cause dementia and cognitive issues if it's left untreated, like Al Capone had problems with. But when Al Capone had it, there was no way to treat it. Ice Cold Hombre says, that face when Darryl Brooks is more competent than Ron Jeremy. Yes. Yes. Yeah, he's American Dreamer says, does he have lots of money? I mean, he's probably got more money than I do. So, Sneed saying, does syphilis cause dementia? I think I just mentioned this with Jim's thing. No, but if left untreated, it'll cause lesions and things on your brain. And yeah, it destroys your mind. It will chew it up. A job well done says syphilis goes undiagnosed until late stage quite often. Yeah, it does. But I mean, especially in the porn industry, though, I think you'd be on top of that, especially all the things you can get, all the STDs you can get, and then especially after the 80s, catching the high five. I think you'd be on top of making sure, like, hey, something's not working right with my wiener. Because even with syphilis, there are warning signs. Wicked Money says, so no more videos coming from him, huh? Maybe they'll do a wheelchair version of like Bang Bus. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe. Oh gosh. Where are we at right now? Oh, Sarah Boone. That's the next thing. So, guys, I know we've all been wanting to know what's going to happen with Sarah Boone. If you didn't follow on Tuesday, her trial has been continued till April 10th. Why? Well, it sounds like her attorney still hasn't done his job of really meeting with her. And number two, they are going to introduce the battered spouse defense, which is a variation of self-defense, meaning she felt the only way she could defend herself was by preemptively attacking him. And in this case, throwing him in a suitcase and locking it up. Okay, we'll see how that works. Now, the issue is she doesn't really mention she acted in self-defense at all before. And I still think her argument of, well, I just got really drunk and I didn't really do this, and whether or not she had a legal duty to act and help, I think is probably far better. Now, granted, I think both of them are tough. I think she's got a less than 20% chance with the she didn't actually commit a crime defense, but with this battered spouse one or tattered or spattered spouse, as we were talking about, I think she's got maybe a handful of percent chance on that. I don't think it's going to go well. I don't think they should try this, but they're going to try it. She's going to meet some experts. And yes, the defense will find an expert that will say she's got battered spouse syndrome. There are hireable hacks out there no matter what you do. Just like the Theodore Edgecombe case, they hired a hack expert. Now, hopefully they hire an expert that's fairly credentialed and credible, because the state's certainly going to find one who says she's not, and they're going to be very credible. And we'll see what happens. Zen says, watching this video is killing me. I still can't believe she said that while being interviewed. Yeah. Once again, this is a reason why when the police want to talk to you, shut the fuck up. You will say all kinds of dumb shit in an interview room that doesn't look good. Now, whether or not she had a good meaning for that or however she meant it, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good. But that's why you shut the fuck up. You have a Fifth Amendment. You don't have to pay for it. You get to use it. You can use it a million times. You can't wear it out. Use it. Use it. Use it. Use it. Use it. Use it. Oh. Um, Pope Bracket's saying, put something on locals that explains why this deal drama is happening. I think I will. I think I will. I think that's a better place to talk about the whole Steven Crowder Daily Wire thing. And I'm going to work on that. I'll try to, maybe I'll put something together tonight after this is over. Uh, Pie Case, you're saying, yeah, I usually get drunk and play hide and seek with my boyfriend. Doesn't everybody? No, nope. I think just you. Tarkina Meyer saying Amber's doctor from the trials available. Oh, the guy with the thing. Yeah, that guy was. Rob Dorr. Hey, man, I missed seeing you around, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well with school. Stabby saying, I don't give any of these charlatans a dime. I just buy hats and mugs from Cancer AIDS, man. I know. Still thinking, yeah, good vibes out there, Jim. Hope you beat this stuff. We need you out there to make it through this to go after Ralph and make fun of him again. Where are you guys? Not here. Aaron E says Sarah Boone Skycat merch when? Well, I was working on trying to figure out a place that would do luggage tags. I couldn't find anything right away. I'm still going to work on that. And that is the advantage. There are some other meme merchandise I was going to try to find and come up with for the trial. So I might have time. So that is it for Sarah Boone, guys. Like I said, there's not much to it right now. We're in a holding pattern, just like pretty much we've always been. Same thing is the same thing is the same thing. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, next, Bryan Kohberger. So in Bryan Kohberger's case, he's the Idaho, remember, Idaho, not Idaho, uh, murder suspect. He has had his search warrant released for his things in Washington. Because remember, he lived in Washington State and was able to travel across the border because he lived nearby. Or, in Kyle Rittenhouse parlance, he crossed state lines. Oh no, he crossed state lines. So this is a motion to unseal the warrant. Now, a lot of times warrants do get filed under seal. That's not uncommon. And then you file a motion to have the warrant unsealed. And in this case, this is from the state of over in Whitman County, Washington. And this is through the prosecutor. He files a motion to have the warrant unsealed. And also the return to service a search warrant. And we'll go through all that. These warrants were sealed due to the sensitive nature of the investigation. But since then, and we went over the affidavit already. I know we did that probably, was it last week or the week before? We went over all that and they said, oh, because you guys have already kind of disclosed everything, we don't have to. So there's a whole lot here you guys haven't seen or won't have seen, but it's interesting to see it from another agency standpoint and what they were working on together. So this is the motion in order for an original search warrant and search warrant application, and then also for it to remain sealed, but a redacted version is to be provided. Remember, just like the Idaho warrants and probable cause stuff, things are still redacted. There are redactions all over it, especially such as the blank spots. So here is the search warrant. Okay. That the crimes of murder and burglary in the first degree per the Idaho Code have been committed in Idaho, and that evidence of those crimes, and once again, contraband, the fruits of the crime, or things otherwise criminally possessed, weapons, or things by which a crime has been committed or reasonably appears to be committed, are concealed on a certain premises. Okay. So the search warrant says that within 10 days, and that's the thing with a warrant, you're given a set time frame to go execute it. Just because the idea of, the magistrate or the judge signs off your warrant, you're not able to just go do it right now. Sometimes you will. If the situation's dire enough, they're waiting for the warrant to get signed. And as soon as it gets signed, somebody's making a phone call, execute the warrant. Okay. Because and then by the time you get across town or across the county, hey, up here's your copy of the warrant. We're leaving it here. That is acceptable. I mean, sometimes you just got to get it done. Normally, though, you're going to take some time. So within 10 days, they have to go to the apartment over here. And we talked about this before, and it was funny that had not gotten redacted completely in the other case. So here you have to describe with particularity where you want to search. So yes, you might say apartment G201, but then you talk about, well, what 1630 Valley Road, which is where G201 is. And you point out it's a multiple occupancy apartment building. It's white and tan in color. Apartment G201 is located on the northeast corner of the second story. And this is where with particularity, you have to describe where you're going. So you're going to describe where G201 is, where the door is, where the landing is. How do you know which one it is? How can you identify it? On the second story, there's 201 on the door. The door is white with a swinging screen door outside of the main door to the residence. Now, how would they know all this? Well, they can walk up to the door because they are allowed to be, they're allowed to walk onto the property and say, oh, okay, it's got a screen door on it. If he had a sticker on it saying, I love anime or, Sailor Moon for life, they could say, oh, yeah, there's a big bumper sticker on it. They are allowed to go and, do a little surveillance. So, and then with the further description, what they're looking to see. So they've described where they're going, but now what are they looking for? Okay, blood or bodily fluid or human tissue or skin cells or other items with blood or bodily fluid or human tissue or skin cells on them. So anything with blood or human, any with human material, gloves, shoes, anything that might be bloody. Knives, sheaves, or other sharp tools, including daggers, dirks, swords. Okay, so once again, not just a knife. I mean, technically, not all knives are daggers, but some daggers might be knives. But a dirk is a very small knife. A sword. I mean, big sword is not a knife. Technically, a sword is a really big knife, but not all knives are swords. Anything that shows that he owns them, including receipts, if he kept all of his stuff in a bag or a book somewhere. Any images, digital or paper, and this is where they're going to go data mining. They're going to take his computer and they're going to look to see if he's got anything that shows Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonclave, Zanya Kernoodle, Madison Mogan, B, T, or DM, the two survivors, and or the house at Moscow and the house in Moscow or the surrounding neighborhood. So they're going to see, was he conducting surveillance? Did he pick these people out? Anything that could show those people. Clothing, but not limited to dark shirts, dark pants, shoes with a diamond sole pattern. Okay, well that's a little more broad, but as stated from the witness who saw him, yeah, he was wearing dark clothes. Okay, so you can look for dark clothes. Trace evidence, including DNA from blood, skin cells from other sources, footprints, fingerprints, hair, whether human or animal or dog. So yeah, if they dig through and they find like a black t-shirt and there's hair on it, well, they're going to take that hair, especially if it looks like it's not his. They can analyze it. And then why they bring up the animal or dog? Well, because there was a dog in the house. So if he's got the hair from that dog, that's bad news for him. Data compilations showing an interest in or planning a murder, violent assault, stabbing, or cutting people. Gosh, for a lot of us nowadays, that's going to look really bad. Details of the house, its location, or any of the people involved. And any data compilation showing his locations or his cell phone, including Wi-Fi logs, data or metadata associated with photos. So they're not only going through what he's done, but his search histories. And they're also getting permission now to take his phone apart and find out, where did his phone ping off of? Where were the Wi-Fi logs, any GPS pings that might be stored in the phone? For example, if you guys don't know this, so if you have Google tracks your movements. Like, you can actually map out your day. And I've used this before when I've done a lot of driving in a day to figure out how many miles I drove for, tax purposes. This can track it. So, I mean, like I said, this thing is a tattle machine. But cell phones, computer towers, laptops. But they also point out that, you can get data from ledgers, papers, lists, and he might have done it all by hand. Books, notes, letters, calendars, address books. I mean, when you guys search warrants, you do all this stuff. You list out everything, and that's not uncommon. This here, number 7, that's a very boilerplate thing. And because they talk about here anything, messaging apps, anything you can access that will determine, possessors of the device, photographs, images, or videos. Basically, they're going to hoover through everything he's got to see if he's got anything that ties him to this place. If there's any information he could show GPS and looking around, any of the EXIF tags and EXIF metadata showing when pictures were taken, things were put together, every single thing they're going to go through. Also passwords, codes, phrases, or other things to operate these devices. They're going to look through everything there, okay? And then this is the actual application. So they talk here. This is the Affian saying, I'm police officer, the Washington State Police Department. I've been here since 1998. Well, that's a long time. So they have from a Moscow, Idaho police officer attached as an exhibit, which is important because you're dealing with stuff from another jurisdiction. This is when they go back through. He kind of tells the story about how he got involved and what he's looking for. And once again, he's listing out here all the things he's looking for. And you say, here's all the things I want to look for. And then the court authorizes it. Okay. In addition, he asked the court to authorize in the service the use of any law enforcement agency in the state of Idaho, the federal government, or any technical specialists associated with or employed to help. Well, why is that important? Well, if he doesn't say that and the Washington State University Police, they don't have like guys who can bust open your cell phone. Sure, the cops might be trained using Cellbrite, but doing a forensic, dissection of a hard drive, they can't do that. That's going to have to go to a crime lab somewhere, maybe a state police crime lab, or there might be a contractor like the FBI might do it, or the FBI might contract it out to some, group of people who does it. So you're just asking for permission to use other groups of people. They're asking for technical specialists to review the digital data because for the best and least intrusive method of securing the digital evidence, because they want to secure it, and that's part of what they're supposed to do is the best and least intrusive method. They're not supposed to rip everything apart and yank the hard drives. If they can just take everything and still access it, that's what they're supposed to do, because at the end of the day, it's still Bryan Kohberger's stuff, and he has a right to be secure and not have it destroyed. And holy cow, we got Sean saying Sailor Moon for life. No. It's not as bad as me saying ooh for Joe. Darcy for $50. Thank you so much for super chat. I really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Thank you, Sean. Cheers. Well, thank you. Alpha Fox saying a bunch of white girls on a dog. Oh no. I think this is a little dog, so I think he'd have some trouble getting up there. Robert Lawrence for $5. Thank you, Robert. I don't know if you meant to say something, but I appreciate the super chat, man, very much. And God, I hate when I move this around, stuff disappears. Jim is saying, I'm just hoping for some kind of Law and Order twist in this case, where it turns out they had the wrong guy and it was the feds all along. Or it could just be like the feds and this is like an MK Ultra, like this is the rebirth of MK Ultra, and they turned him into a psychotic person. Sleazy is saying, how much to get you to say ara ara? Well, very seductively, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. I'll have to put a menu together for that. Justin Hancock says, has any motive for the murders been discussed yet? No, other than he's a lunatic. I don't know how he selected these people yet. We're just going to finish up knocking through this. So they want to do a supplemental disclosure for a DNA test. Once again, guys, they found a sheath at the murder scene. Police your crime scenes up when you commit a crime, guys. Don't leave stuff behind. You may as well just like sign a note and say, yeah, it was me. I did it. Sanitize your crime scenes if you're going to do stuff. I mean, come on. If it's a job worth doing, it's worth doing right. For reals. So anyways, yes, they found the sheath. And in December, we talked about this. They did a trash pull of Kohberger's family in Pennsylvania. And remember, trash pulls are legal because your trash is no longer your property. You know, people can come up and yank it. Like my garbage can sitting outside. If the federales wanted my DNA for whatever reason they want, I don't know. Maybe we're going to do like a Boys from Brazil remake. They can go get it and they can go yank it. And there's nothing I can do to stop them. So that trash was sent to the Idaho State Crime Lab. And when they compared it, the lab personnel concluded the source of the trash DNA profile was a male and was not being excluded as the biological father of the source of the suspect profile. So they did a familial DNA test because they didn't have Bryan's DNA. And why do they? Because they need a warrant for Bryan's DNA. If they try to get a warrant, well, then the jig's up and the guy knows you're looking for him. But if they go steal dad's DNA out of the garbage, okay, well, now we can figure out, okay, if this guy's more than likely the dad of this DNA, you know, to 99.9998%. Of the male population would be excluded from the possibility of being the biological father. Now, here's the thing. That's enough on Maury to say, you are the father. To support probable cause, this is enough to say, you are the father. Now, to get it into court, I think people would probably accept if the court allowed it and it got through Dalbert. Yeah, a jury's going to say, okay, yes, you are the father. And then say, that was Bryan and Bryan did it. So this information is being provided to be fully candid with the court. I mean, it's nice to see an officer say that because I've seen a lot of search warrants where a lot of stuff gets left out and they weren't exactly being candid. But I will give this officer credit for at least trying to be candid here. Am I saying cops lie? Yes. He did point out, I do not believe this information exculpatory for the suspect. Okay, yes, because if you thought it was exculpatory, you wouldn't include it in the warrant. Because that's what cops do. They minimize exculpatory shit. However, if the court believes it's exculpatory, and the court should consider the supplemental disclosure in its evaluation. Okay, I mean, the way you phrase it, it clearly isn't exculpatory. So, I think this is really kind of underhand thinking, look, if you're too fucking stupid to believe me, judge, I'll give you this information to look at. But I'm specifically asking the court to not consider the supplemental disclosures evidence supporting the existence of probable cause. See, then why would you include it? The reason for the request is that the DNA test results are held inadmissible at some point. Such a ruling will not impact the finding of probable cause for this warrant, so long as the court is satisfied the probable cause exists regardless of the DNA result. And it does, because they traced his car. Remember, we went through this. There's pictures of his car bouncing around in the areas. And then at one point, he left his phone on and it pinged this weird route he drove on the way back. And he shows back up, gets out of his car, and goes to bed. But during the night, it makes sense. His phone goes dark. They think he was in the area. Okay, they've got enough for probable cause. This is just icing on the cake. But to argue that this is not supporting the existence of probable cause and the DNA test results are held inadmissible, I fail to see how they will be. I mean, this is super cautious, but oh well. And then once, I certify under perjury in the state of laws of Washington, the foregoing is true and correct. And this is, the declarant, the officer puts the warrant together, goes through all of that. And then this is the officer from Idaho. Again, Idaho, not Idaho. They talk about, we've already looked at this here. I think we've already seen this at one point or another. We talk about this is the entire thing put together. And it's just to give the court the full story because these cops know the full story. The cops in Washington have no damn idea, comparatively speaking. Yeah, and this is exactly, guys, looking through this before. I have not seen this before. This is exactly the stuff we've looked at. And they talk about the Elantra's driving route. And then there's the, where's that one where it shows them? Yeah. This is what they think he did the night of. He drove this really long, circuitous route all the way back. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, and they go through it and they talk about how he drove, where he went, all the different places he was at. And this is just tacked on at the end to give the court some understanding. So we don't need to really look at that. So there you go. That was all from there. This is it was sealed, but now you can see it's all crossed out. So all the things seized and currently stored. One nitrile black glove. Uh apparently just one glove. We're doing a Michael Jackson style. One Walmart receipt with a Dickies tag. Maybe he bought some clothes for his thing. Two Marshalls receipts. A dust container from the Bissell Power Force vacuum. So if he vacuumed up his clothes and he saw there was dog hair on it, so he vacuumed it up. Well, now they're going to dig through that, see if there's dog hair, because it's not clear that Kohberger owned a dog. Um, where the heck? John Thompson saying careful cartilage and all that. Yeah, it is, but they got through that here. Jim is saying, what do I think about the cops filing the gag order? Still dripping information. I don't know how the cops. The judge has said don't do it, but it's going to happen. It's almost impossible to keep stuff from dripping. So, um, Brooks Euchre is saying the ATF pistol break stuff's looking bad. Yeah, it is. And I heard about what the GOA lawyer did, and I might. I think if we should have time tomorrow night, I think I'll probably go live like 9 or 10, probably talking about what this all means exactly, because that rule is a fucking dumpster fire. I think it's so bad. But we'll get to that. Um, but getting back to what he's, damn, what is this fucking thing doing? So let's see here. What else do they find? 8 possible hair strands. Okay. One Fire TV stick with cord and plug. Okay. One possible animal hair. One possible hair. One possible hair. One possible hair. One strand. One computer tower. They are going to just vacuum up all the data off that. One collection of a dark red spot collected without testing. So they didn't spray luminol on it. They didn't do any blood testing. That's being done in the lab. They didn't field test it. They just took something. 2 cuttings from an uncased pillow of reddish brown stain. The larger stain was tested. We don't know what what it came back as. 2 top and bottom of mattress cover packaged separately, but both labeled C. Multiple stains. One was tested. Doesn't know what those tests were. Don't know what the test came back as. But they don't have to. This is just a return. And normally these are handwritten, especially like when I see them. Usually it's for a drug raid. We found scales. Well, we found a scale in the kitchen. Found a big bag of what appears to be cocaine. Where did you find? Found underneath couch in living room. Went into the basement. We found, coffee filters and all the other things, plastic tubing. We think this is where they were making meth, down in the basement. Stuck up in the sock drawer, we found this bag of what appears to be marijuana, and they list out everything. We found a mirror. We found razor blades. We found rolling papers. We found a bunch of baggies. They list everything out in the return, so you know what was taken. And yeah, this sounds like they didn't take a whole lot, or this guy didn't have much to take. So that is kind of where we are with Bryan Kohberger. There's not a. We'll find more going forward. If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Yes. Although if it's a stretchy glove, it'll work. Um, A name of some sort saying, say I bought all the parts for an AR pistol a while ago, but never assembled it. Am I good, or will there something there to F me over? Well, it generally determined. I mean, that's going to be an issue of, you're going to be relying on the benevolence of a federal law enforcement official. So take that advice as you will. Probably not the best idea. But once again, that's going to be up to you, and you need to consult a legal professional in your area. But if you're willing to fuck around, you might find out. I mean, they might not really push forward on this. Kind of like with 922R and the amount of import parts you have, there isn't really a history of the feds going after people. Generally, if they were to, that'd be because it's on top of a actual serious criminal charge, and they want to hammer you on. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go yet. Job well done says it appears to be oregano. Oh. Jim is saying everybody should have 5 gallons of ammonia on hand and bleach, just in case you need to destroy or just contaminate DNA evidence that might or might not be in your Hyundai Elantra or on you. I mean, really, I'm surprised this guy didn't dump his clothes somewhere. Go take him and put him in take his clothes and throw him in a Goodwill bin. Not suggesting that, but like Ed Sheeran, guys, I'm just thinking out loud. Take the advice as you want. So, Drew is saying, are we not allowed to own scales? If not, I have 10 to 15 scales in my shop and ammo loading. You're allowed to own scales, but if the police, think you're a drug dealer and they think they found suspected drugs, they're going to take the scale because they think you're drug trafficking. So, Eliza Krogan saying thinking out loud can be dangerous on a YouTube channel. Check out your locals. I put a picture up. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hold on. Nightbringer saying always have those USB backwash capacitors on hand. When the Fed goes to search them, it'll fry their motherboards. Yes, but you have to be careful. They may be checking for booby traps, but that's not a bad idea overall. Or having some of those magnets that'll zap everything when you go out, or having D-band set to run, which will nuke your hard drive on a hair trigger. Just things to think about. Oh God, I don't know if I want to look for this here, but potentially criminal.locals.com. Oh God, tell me this is not going to be bad. Don't tell me. Okay, that's funny. That is hilarious. Oh. Okay, that is funny. So, Luke Blanche saying the cops see a scale here, they'll search your car. Yeah, yeah. So, Shopping Ninja says, "What if you use your scale to measure hemp protein powder?" Sure, but the police aren't generally coming in just because you have a scale. They're coming in because they think you're a drug dealer on top of everything else. So it's not just the scale. Yes, Silent Rage. People are being set up by the ATF, and the brace bands being used as a trap. I think so. I think there's a lot of nefariousness going on here. The purposes are set up. So, Zero Fucks saying a lot of USB ports are equipped to handle high voltage these days. Oof. Oh no. That's not good. I guess measure and countermeasure. It's a circle of life. Wicked Money says, or are you Afro Man? No, but I'm trying to get in touch with Afro Man and his attorney because he got raided here in Ohio and I didn't know about it. And I would love to go through their search warrant that they got a copy of. Goalie says, can you go over the Hannah Gutierrez police interview? Yeah, I think I will, especially now that something's happening with the case. We'll go through that at some point here coming up. So, what else moving on to the next thing here, the Murdaugh trial. Okay. So here's what we know so far. Sarah Boone, gone. Dumpster defenders, likely not to be televised. So another crash and burn. What's going on? Well, the Murdaugh murder trial. And are we sure that's going to happen? Well, it starts next week. And what is the Murdaugh murder trial? I know you guys will have heard of this. And I gotta, where did I have the thing set up? So the Murdaughs, so Paul Murtaugh is a disbarred attorney in North Carolina. I'm sorry. Was it North Carolina or South Carolina? Is in South Carolina. Remember, you guys said Carolina. Anyway, yes, you guys got me right. It's South. So you guys may have heard of this back in crap. Where am I looking at? It didn't show up. Crap. All right. So anyway, Paul Murtaugh had a family. In 2019, his son, Alex, drove a boat, probably like a drunk dumb fuck, and crashed into a family boat and crashed the boat into a bridge, killing all 6 people. And one of the people was named Mallory Beach. So the prosecutors were going to sue or press charges against Murdaugh, the dad, and the Beach family was going to sue in a wrongful death lawsuit. But before the case could come to court, Paul Murdaugh and his mother were shot and killed in the family's house. Okay. All right. And they were killed at a family estate. The disbarred attorney, Alex Murdaugh, has been charged with their murders. Okay. He was accused of staging a murder for hire plot, trafficking drugs, and embezzling nearly $9 million from his clients. So he's not a good guy. There is a lot of issues here. And then on the 23rd, his double homicide trial will begin. It's going to be very interesting. It's got a lot of twists and turns in it. I'm sure you guys haven't heard yet. What are you guys talking about here? Sleazy's saying, so a typical lawyer, I mean, 9 mil. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to embezzle $9 million. So Jim is saying, why didn't Rekieta send Ty Beard into the court in Abilene with a media request? He could have used the Rekieta Media LLC. Texas Corp is the media requesting it for publication. That's the first part, is getting permission. And that's not the issue generally. It's if you do that, the courts are going to say, okay, fine. Rekieta Media is the one in charge. It's kind of like how Law and Crime or Court TV is supposed to do it. Congratulations, you're the one in charge. You're the pool feed. Now, if anybody else wants it, you have to provide it. You need like one of those film trucks down there running all the time with a camera. You're going to have a camera crew stuck inside. You're going to have to pay for that. I mean, it's not like you can just sit there and have some, dumb fuck sit there with his camera phone on a tripod and film it. That's not going to work. And the audio, I mean, there's a lot of work involved in, basically you're having on-site reporting. You're doing a remote in terms of like media parlance. So it's not that easy. There's a lot more to it. We'll get to that, J-Rock, in a second. Someone killed a housekeeper. Yeah, there's a whole lot to this. I think it's going to be a very good case. It's very interesting. I hadn't been following it too well just because I didn't think we were going to have a chance to cover it. But it sounds like we'll have a chance. Now, next week, guys, I am still working. Remember, I cleared out the 30th for Sarah Boone. Once again, God damn it, Sarah, you're screwing me over. But I cleared out that room. Well, I loaded up the week before and the week after. So if that trial is still going into the 30th, we'll be watching it. We'll be streaming it. If not, Look around in your areas, guys. I mean, we might just see what Law and Crime and Court TV are covering and just piggyback off that. Or if you know of some interesting case or trial that is going live, and it might just be shown on your local affiliates, the local Fox, the local NBC, whatever, send me an email. Guys, it's down there, potentiallycriminal@gmail.com. Let me know. We might go ahead and just watch something. Otherwise, I mean, if there's nothing on, then there'll be nothing on, and I'm probably just gonna I might just spend the week doing videos and working on things. So if we run into problems, it might come down to you, viewers like you, to kind of help me figure out where some content is out there. Um, Nacho Kitty saying no cameras. I think Murdaugh is going to be televised. So, is it being held in Greenville or Columbia? It is not being held in any of them. It is being held in Walterboro, South Carolina, and it is a city of 5,500 people. And they think because of what's going to happen in this trial, it's going to double the size of the town to almost 10,000 people. So it will be interesting there. Okay. Truck Golfer says, Sean, why weren't you invited to Davos? Because I'd be trying to figure out how to get the Navy to send a Tomahawk there. Oops, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I meant Davos should get hit with a JDAM. Oh, I shouldn't have said that either. It, maybe not even in Minecraft. Oh. Noel saying, what happened on the dumpster defenders trial? Seeing a lot of talk about it, but nothing concrete. It's still going. It's just not going to be televised. So if it's not televised, we won't know what's going on. But that might change. There might be a local group or somebody getting ready to do it. It just hasn't been set up yet. Normally, when you're trying to do video, things like that, you do it well in advance and it's set up and ready to go. You don't do it like at the last minute. Um, Court TV is the fee, and the judge said shared pool camera. Are you talking about for Murdaugh? Because yeah, there's going to be a shared feed for that, but like Dumpster Defender, there's nothing there. Michelle says, why doesn't Russia just take care of it? I mean, yeah, you could shoot a scud and shoot a scud in eastern Ukraine and like oopsie poopsie makes it all the way to Switzerland. I mean, things do happen. Actually, I don't know. Can an Iskander go that? Ooh, now I got to find out. Iskander missile range. Yeah, can an SS-26 get that? Oh no, they only range 500 kilometers. Oof, that's not far enough. Geez, I think if you need to get something that far, you're gonna do like an SS-20 or something a little more ballistic. Justin says, try out our tungsten rods on Davos. The rods from gods. Drew Bradley saying, I bet you a large can of Red Bull. The female armor will get more time than Baldwin does, even though he pulled the trigger. Okay, yeah, I'll take that bet. Mark it down. Mark it down. Jessica Reload. Hey Jess, how you doing? It's been a little while. You should post the video. You should check out the video I posted on Joe Strike. And I did an analysis and found some fuckery afoot that he didn't catch until I did. So, I'll take a look at that. I know his strike got lifted. I know Meme Copium's strike got lifted as well. I was going to have him on probably tomorrow night to talk about it. But it sounds like for now, HBO let him go. I mean, they just want to accept the fact that Velma is a shitty TV show. Is this legal advice? Well, I mean, like, it's just legal advice to tell you an Iskander only goes, an SS-26 only goes 500 kilometers. Okay. Um, Alpha Fox Jane just streamed bad opening statement videos. I'm not going to do that. Oh. Oh, excellent. Yeah, you're saying the dagger hypersonic missile can go 1,200 miles. Yeah, yes, that'd be a great time for a hypersonic strike. So, Darcy saying Emily Baker read the judge's media order today. Okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, the Murdaugh trial, I guess, if it's going, we'll cover that. If it's still going by then, it might be done. Who knows? We will have to see. I don't know if that's been as documented well what's going on. Justin Hancock says, I'd hate to see video of my first opening statement. Oh, yeah, the first one I've ever done would have been awful. The first closing, a lot of stuff I did first was awful. I totally agree. The first time I did this, 40 some weeks ago, I would not want to watch that again. I bet it was awful. So yeah, I totally agree. And then I think that's actually it for us tonight. I kind of caught up with everything. That made decent time. Torgo the White saying, can't the other defendants in the Rush shooting just say the statute says only the guy who pulled the trigger actually did the crime? What is the basis for charging them? Well, it doesn't say that. If you go back through the statute, it does not say only the guy who commits the act can be charged. Certainly, they were, her actions alone could have, her actions alone could be considered manslaughter. No, I think for her, she actually has a better chance because she can say that. Yeah, I didn't pull the trigger, so I didn't do it. I may have been an idiot. I may have been like full blown Helen Keller on this, but I didn't commit a crime, and that's something I expect her to do. I may be, all shucks, folks. I'm the biggest retard there is, but I didn't commit no crime. Okay. But I guarantee you there is, case law where a group of people did something stupid and they all got hemmed up on the manslaughter because her part of it is bad, and without the due caution or circumspection. Somebody she was doing a lawful act and there was a death because she didn't exercise due caution or circumspection. Her actions led to that. Then his actions led to that. She knew he wasn't trained. She knew he wasn't following the rules, and she still didn't care. Knew those guns were going. Like, yes, do I think she has a bit of a bigger chance of getting out of this because it all is predicated on Alec Baldwin then doing something wrong? Yes, and that's a little tenuous that you have to tie her liability to the fact that this guy was going to do it, and you can't say for sure it was going to happen that way. So I think she's got a chance there. I think she's got a chance. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know, J Rock. We're gonna get to this. Okay. Yes, for $5. Thank you. Yeah, all right. I was gonna call Sean to cover my ass, but then I got high. Ooh, I could have. I was gonna have him take my case, but then I got high. La da da. Now my house got raided, and I know why. Because I got high. Because I got high. Because I got high. La di dot dot dotty dot. There you go. You guys got it. Joe had a circumspection. Jeez. I had to wait till we got to the end here. Um, Jabba done saying when this require a conspiracy. I mean, yes, typically I think you'd want to show a conspiracy, but I'm not sure how they're going to show it. They have not. I mean, we'll have to see when a bill of particulars gets put out where the state's going to have to lay out exactly their theory of the case, but we'll see. We will see at some point. Yes, the musical talents of this man. Yes. Don't let everybody find out. The Daily Wire might send me a contract too. Oh, this is something, Walter Malone. This is a good question. Somebody actually asked me this earlier. Are they going to try these two together? No, I don't see that happening because there's a issue. It's called a Bruton issue, and that comes from a case called Bruton v. United States. When you have co-defendants who are going to turn on each other, there becomes issues in the confrontation clause because if you guys are together in the same trial, you also have the right to remain silent, but there's a confrontation issue. How does that all work? Well, so the chances that they cop pleas on each other, I mean, I could see Hannah Reid putting a plea out there and trying to get away from her and getting away from this. Um, seemed like everybody involved is ready to blame the armor. Well, yeah, because she's the low man on the totem pole. David Halls is the director, assistant director, everybody above that chain. I mean, think about Alec fucking Baldwin. Of course they're gonna shit on the low man. If they could have got away with shit putting the blame on some guy in craft services, the guy who sits there and keeps the coffee pot warm, they probably would have. When you're the low man on the totem pole, I mean, shit rolls downhill. It rolls fucking downhill. So, job well done says, bless you for reading chat. Well, if I didn't, this would be a lot shorter show. Be kind of lonely too. Ninja is saying, can they both be convicted of the same crime? Yes, they both can be. They both can be convicted of manslaughter. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Now, I think if you're asking, can they both be convicted? Do they have to be convicted of the same type of manslaughter, the unlawful act versus the lawful act? I don't think there's any. I don't know New Mexico law, but I would presume there's no prohibition on that. There's no prohibition on how you do those things. So one might get part one versus part two. Crow Bear said that her court-appointed attorney is a real snore. They nicknamed him Sleepy. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Hannah Reid's not getting. She's getting the public defender. Alec Baldwin though, he's going to be bringing out the big guns. Yes, the assistant director is likely going to have to go over that. Noel says, can you go over the Ohio Supreme Court's ruling on weapons under disability? The stream, it's only 2 or 3 pages. Yeah, hey, you know what? Noel, send it to me. I'll take a look at it real quick. Send it to my email. Because I heard something about it. If it's the one I've heard about that happened recently, I don't know. If it's the one that recently, I've not read it. So might be an interesting read. Nobody's all but mine says her dad will probably pay for her defense. Maybe, but I mean, remember sometimes parents sell their kids out, create distance. Which email? The potentiallycriminal@gmail.com. So, if Alec is smart, he will pay for her defense. That actually is not that doesn't matter. Because, and this is something I don't think a lot of people understand. Even if you're paying for someone's criminal defense, you are not in charge of that defense. For example, J Rock, if you were in trouble and I paid for your defense attorney, he's your defense attorney. So he has confidentiality with you. He can't tell me anything unless you allow him. He can't do what I say. He has to work with you. You're the one who works with him, decides, am I going to trial? Am I writing a plea? All those decisions are yours. They would not be mine. So even if I pay for your attorney, it doesn't mean a damn thing. You have no control over him or the case. You only have control over making payments. That happens a lot, especially if I have an adult, parents are paying for their adult child who gets into some criminal trouble. When the mom and dad don't understand, look, I can't talk to you. Junior has not allowed me to talk to you. One, number two, You are not calling the shots, he is. And like they're like, why isn't he taking a plea? Because he doesn't have to. And it's his decision. Well, he needs to, and we need to, and you have to break it down for him. Like, look, it doesn't matter what you want. As the Rock would say, it doesn't matter. So him paying doesn't do a whole lot for him. Because you are the client. The way it works when for ethics classes, you start out with, and this is the first question. And if you're never sure what's going on, you start out with, who is your client? Who are you representing ultimately? Okay, you start with that. Who is your client? And you figure out, okay, once I know who my client is, what duties do I have to that person? Then you find out, okay, these people aren't my client. What duties do I have to them? And that's where you start. And that's how you start basically if you're like in an ethics class. You would start your final, your exam answers with, well, who is the client? Uh, oh shit, I'm getting things everywhere here. Um, let me see here. All right, guys, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. Something happened to the internet that was really weird, so we got it fixed. Sorry, took care of that. Um, okay, so yes, no, I have not seen this one. So this is yes, guys, I'm back. I'm back. So it was not China. Yes, the Davos has got me. Yes, Klaus Schwab's like, he knows too much. You must silence him. All right, we'll fire this bad boy up here. Okay. Chrome tab. Where the hell is this? Where the hell did it go? Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so this is State v. Phil Potts. All right, so this is Supreme Court of Ohio. It's actually out of the appeals of Cuyahoga County, which is where Cleveland is. And surprisingly enough, yeah, imagine that. There is J-damned. You know what? We need to stop right now. If they decided to use like an actual J-dam on me, as much as that would suck, just getting like whoomph all at once, it would be very flattering to know that they used an actual J-dam on me. I'm not talking about like a Hellfire or a small diameter bomb, but like, 2,000-pound J-dam just like plowing down my chimney like Santa Claus from hell. That would be, I mean, heartfelt. That would be, I would be flattered to know I'm that much of a threat. So just saying. What's in the mug? Oh, just some tea. It's a school night tonight. I have a bench trial in the morning, so can't get too crazy tonight. But getting back to this stuff. So the judgment of this Court of Appeals is vacated and the cause is remanded to the Court of Appeals for considerations in light of, well, our good old friend, good old reliable, the new trump card, New York State Rifle versus Bruin. So let's see. In August 2017, Devontae Philpotts was indicted for having a weapon under disability. Okay, in Ohio, guys, if you're aware, weapon under disability means a couple different things. Primarily, you had a felony offense of violence or a felony drug offense. There's also, if you're a chronic alcoholic, which is not every that's kind of unique for Ohio. If you were committed to an institution, those are the typical ways you're not allowed to own a firearm in Ohio. So he had it. He pled no contest to the disability charge, was sentenced to probation for 3 years. He appealed his conviction, claims it violates his rights under the Second Amendment. The Court of Appeals affirmed rejecting his Second Amendment challenges. So that means the Court of Appeals, and this is the citation for it, you guys can look it up. Court of Appeals said, yeah, Second Amendment, Schmecken Amendment. Sorry, we're not buying it. So Philpotts appealed it to this court. And they accepted the appeal and held it because there were a couple of different cases that were pending. They lifted the hold, and in September, they ordered the parties to submit briefing for the impact after Bruin was going on. And they waited because, well, we're not going to do this if we know Bruin's coming out. And the court was trying just to, it makes no sense for us to make a ruling for the Supreme Court to say one way or another, you're wrong. Philpotts made a forceful argument to this court, which has been buttressed by the release of Bruin. That case has such significant implications for the issue raised by Philpotts. We ordered the parties to submit briefs addressing its effect. But now we're unable to determine to render a judgment. Despite having received compelling guidance from the Supreme Court and the parties in their briefs. Okay, so we would decide the case on the merits. Instead, we will wait for the Court of Appeals, or even more time-consuming in the trial court, if the Court of Appeals sets it back further to render a decision. Ultimately, we will likely accept jurisdictional appeal of an issue on the constitutional issue. Only then, perhaps years from now, will we determine whether 2923.13a2 violates the constitutional right to bear arms. Okay. And that's true because remember, you have to go back in time, and was that a traditionally felons weren't allowed to own firearms? There really weren't bans like that. In the meantime, Philpotts and similarly situated individuals will continue to be indicted and punished, possibly even imprisoned for violating the statute, which might be unconstitutional. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, these judges are, these courts are saying it needs to go back, and immediately these judges down here are dissenting, saying, no, justice delayed is justice denied. The other justice saying this should be remanded immediately to the trial court. This has been litigated, and then under the law before Bruin, a party arguing the law was unconstitutional, board proving the legislation was beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay. The parties, created the record in this case, and they go through it, and then they point out that Bruin changed the law with respect to Second Amendment challenges. And once again, like I said, you have to go back through history. Were there prohibitions like this in the nation's historical tradition? Okay. And the judge is saying, yeah, you got to send it back to the trial court. And because this is based on incorrect standards of proof. And I agree. Sending this back to the appellate court's insufficient since there's a burden of proof issue that has changed. I agree. So, for this reason alone, it should go back to the trial court to litigate the Second Amendment issue. Other courts have taken this approach, and it makes sense for Ohio courts to do so as well. I will say, no, I'm glad you sent me this because I have a weapons under disability case right now I'm actually dealing with in Cuyahoga County, and I've made this argument already. So I didn't know there was case law that supports it, but I'm glad it does. Whew, that's nice. But yeah, you can see here, they talk about Duncan v. Bonta out of the Ninth Circuit, Young v. Hawaii, Sibley v. Watches. I mean, there's all kinds of things going on here where these are getting, this is gumming up the works. So we shall see what happens. And this might negate this law. This law might get declared unconstitutional in Ohio, which would be pretty damn interesting. John saying, why are you paying attention to the dissent? Because the dissent points out what's wrong. That going back to the Court of Appeals doesn't matter because all the analysis is fucked. You have to go back and start over. J Rock is saying, what's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Yes, the party's in their briefs. Stupid little kangaroo says Ohio sounds pretty gay. It's you're right. It's really gay. It's super gay here. You don't come here. You don't want to be here. It's not based at all. Chris Knobloch saying, are we saying there might be a chance felons will have their rights restored? Because I would 100% support that. Yeah. Yep. I think so. That somebody says, not going to lie, Ohio courts have the ugliest citation format. Listen, the only good court that has a decent citation format is the Supreme Court. I mean, when they footnote stuff. Overall, I think legal citations are garbage and awful, and they should be footnotes. But I'm not on the Ohio Supreme Court, so that battle will not be waged until I take my seat up there at some point, or I can influence them. Alyssa saying, all you do is win. Yeah. Is this what winning feels like? Oh. So, we're, G. Gertrude would say the internet would have you believe Ohio is an SCP-esque hellscape. Yes, our billboards are top tier, though. Yes, they are. Wiki feet footnotes. Yes. Yeah, I'm all about the footnotes and the feet. So, but no, that's very interesting. Thank you. I'm glad that's out there because now I can. I'm probably gonna have to file a supplemental notice saying this is out there. So that'll be good. That'll be good. So thank you. I appreciate it. Examoon says, remember Jake and Logan Paul are from Ohio. That's all you need to know. Yeah, but those cocksuckers are a bunch of scamming fucks. And if I were Logan's attorneys, I'd tell him to be prepared for federal intervention because who lad. To say he's not doing some federal sketchy levels of shit. Wire fraud and conspiracy to commit commodities fraud. Whoo. Have fun with that, Logan. In addition to that, you're scamming dink doink and then your brother pump dumping yummy MILF coin and then stick dicks. Yeah, you guys are in trouble for fucking around trying to make money like idiots. So I'm still working on that video because he issued an apology where he's basically ripping everyone off, but I'm trying to include that now. Biden's growing amyloid levels. Should I work on my deck plans? It doesn't matter anymore. Well, I mean, with the brace ruling, having a pistol brace is going to be as bad as having a machine gun. So, I mean, what's the diff? So, what's the diff? Disney corrupted them. Yeah, I maybe, but maybe they were shitbags to start with, more likely. So, all right, guys. Well, that is it. It's after 11. So that is it for me today. Oh, Rich is saying those eggs will hatch any day now. Well, the thing doesn't even work right now, so it doesn't matter. Have all those CryptoZoo eggs you want. They are not. The game doesn't fucking work. So, yeah, Chris Knobloch, you're right. If the brace is a machine gun, you may as well go full bore. Oh, so all right, guys. Well, that is it for me tonight. Hour and 45 minutes. Thank you for everybody staying around. Yeah, had a lot of people here. Guys, please smash the like button if you enjoyed it. If you really liked it, please subscribe. There's always good stuff coming out. This is the same thing every Thursday 9:30. If there are things to cover, especially starting the week of the 30th, whatever's out there, Murdaugh, some guy with a jaywalking ticket, I really don't care. We'll try to show it. We'll talk about it, have a fun time. Hopefully we can do it all week long. And if you guys do have questions, leave them down below. Comments are always appreciated. If you have a question about something in particular, you can email me. My email address is down below. If you have a case you want to suggest, send it to me. We'll try to look at it, see if it's being televised, and we might do that instead. Graham says, are you planning on running for Ohio Supreme Court? Not anytime soon, but maybe at some point. Let's see here. I'm just checking to see what else you guys wrote down. All right, guys. Yeah, nothing. Stupid little kangaroo says found on your sear. Yeah, then becomes a runaway. That's not good. That's dangerous. So, don't want to make a runaway. That's bad. That's bad juju. Just make a lightning link. It's a lot safer. So, guys, with that, I appreciate everybody here. Everybody who's super chatted. Thank you so much for support. Everybody who's a member, thank you for support. And until next time, you guys, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Good night, everybody.